Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. I am Alexia Nicole and I am living my life by design. So guess what we're doing today, y'all? It is Vlogmas and I've decided to do a Q&A because it has been quite a while since I've done one and I know y'all always have questions, so why not sit down during Vlogmas and answer all the questions that I feel like answering. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right on into this. All right, so we're not gonna even waste any time. We're just gonna get straight into the questions. I have my phone here, so if y'all see me looking down, I'm just looking at all of y'all questions that you decided to ask. And I actually screenshotted them just to make it a little easier on me. If I mess up your name, I am gonna try to pronounce at least your YouTube usernames, but I'm probably just gonna actually post the questions in the video as well, so you'll know that it's you that asked me this. All right, first question is from Sarah Alanice. I tried, Sarah. I know this may be a question you may not want to disclose in public, but do you see yourself applying to mainline anytime soon, and have you decided to relocate to Dallas? So, first part of the question is, she states, I may not want to disclose this. It's not necessarily something that I don't want to disclose. It's pretty obvious that I'm not exactly happy with the money at regional, so mainline would definitely be an option for me. It just depends on when and timing, y'all. Like, that's all. It just depends on when. Have you decided to relocate to Dallas? I have not. It's not something that I'm saying no to exactly, but just as far as my budget and finances and things like that and how I would like to live, it's not something that I will be doing right now, relocating to Dallas. All right, so Teresa asked, hi Alexia. Hi Teresa. I'm glad that you're doing another Q&A, and my question to you is, with the video interview, is it okay to conduct the interview outside with natural lighting? The lighting in my apartment is not that great. So she's referring to when you apply for a flight attendant position with most mainline airlines and some regionals, they require for you to do a video interview. My first inkling to that question would be no, just simply because of the background noise. Like, even in here, y'all can probably hear the doors opening. There's a gentleman over there talking. You might be able to hear those little things. So being outside, there's all kind of natural noises. Unless you can 100% guarantee that you're not going to have noises that will distract from what you're saying in your video interview, I would just have to say no from that. As far as lighting, try to get by a window during the brightest time of day for you, and you want the light facing you. So, you know, if you're just, your regular light bulbs in your house isn't cutting it, then that would just be my next best option for you. Just sit in front of the window. And they're not, on the video interviews, they don't expect everybody to be a pro when it comes to recording videos and things like that. Now, yes, you want to give it your best shot, but trust me, they know that sometimes the video is going to be fuzzy. You may not have the best camera to record, but you're not a videographer, you know. Like, that's not your job. You're applying to be a flight attendant. Just do the best that you can do and give them great answers so they don't have to worry about what was going on in your background. Okay, X2FLI. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce that or try to actually read it. Hi Alexia, how has your job changed from when you first started flying? For example, are flight attendants being required to work more? And do you see the airline having to give more time on layovers because of the FA exhaustion? Troy. Hi, Troy. How's your job changed from when you first started flying? I mean, clearly there's been quite a few changes. I've changed airlines. I've went from a major airline that didn't have regionals to a regional airline that flies for a mainline airline. So in that aspect, things are different. I'm clearly closer to home, so my commute, you know, isn't what it used to be, which I am so grateful for. But as far as just like the aspect of the job itself, it hasn't changed. I mean, when you're a flight attendant for one airline and you're a flight attendant for another, you're doing the same things. You know, procedures may be a little different. As far as what the job itself entails, it's the same. So you asked if flight attendants are being required to work more. That's kind of hard. It's not really hard. No, the answer is no. Every airline has their different requirements based on how many hours, you know, minimal hours you can work and maximum hours you can work. Now, as long as you're falling somewhere in between that for your airline, then you can pretty much do whatever you want, especially as a line holder. Reserve is a little different, but as a line holder, you basically just fly the amount of hours that you choose to fly. Some airlines have 0 hours as a minimum, so you don't have to fly at all. And then some of them are, you know, minimum hours, 60 hours a month to be considered full-time. It just depends on the airline. All of this is going to be specific to whatever airline that you're interested in. And the same for maximum. Some don't have a maximum amount of hours, and then some do. So as long as you're falling in between whatever those guidelines are, then you can choose to work what you want to work. Now, as a reserve flight attendant, our schedule goes based on days. So at my current airline, we get 11 days off for the month, and then the rest of the days we're sitting reserve. Like right now, I'm on reserve. And if they call, I gotta cut this video short and go to work. And that's just all gonna be based on what the company needs. So, you know, if somebody calls out and I'm the next on the list for them to call me to work that flight, then that's what that is. Sometimes you fly a lot, sometimes you don't on reserve. It's just all up in the air. As far as the layover question, more time, there is I believe something passed. I don't get real specific with the whole government laws and stuff, but there was something that passed that minimum rest, I believe, was going to be 10 hours. So with that, once that is actually active, I don't think it's been, you know, whatevered yet. But as far as layover times, I mean, the airline just has to give you whatever the legal minimum rest is. Now, those things do change because of just the routing. However the routing is, you know, whenever the next flight is going to leave and things like that. That's how layovers happen. But no, all the airline has to give is whatever is required minimally by federal aviation. Okay, this is from John Doyle. Hi John, thank you for loving the vlogs. His question is, I love your vlogs and I'm a huge fan. Once you decided to go back to being a flight attendant, did you apply both to mainline and regional airlines? And was the mainline airline your first choice over your current regional? I know you mentioned the pay is less with the regional airline, but you seem to be happy working for this airline. I hope you get a line soon. Thank you. Let's add some prayer to that hope, okay? God needs to move on that one. So if you go back to a few videos when I started back vlogging, there was, I did post a video. The process, I think, is titled something like that, and it kind of tells you everything that I kind of did over the last year before I actually stopped working at my last airline. I was applying to Southwest and I had my face-to-face this past January or February, and I did not get that. Devastating, y'all. And just, you know, I just believe in God's timing, and things didn't work out for a reason. And that point, after I didn't get that, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. If I wanted to go back to flying or just doing real estate full time, or, you know, whatever other endeavors that are in my heart. I wasn't sure. So I wasn't applying. All the airlines were open at that point in time, and I wasn't applying. Like, I was just like, oh, whatever. And then when I did decide to, you know, say I wanted to go back to flying, I started looking, and the regionals were the easiest ones. Like, I just wanted to get back into it. Like, I didn't want to have to wait the whole process. My thought process on it was, let me get on with the regional quickly, which quickly is, you know, maybe 3 months from application to training. And I was like, and once I get on with the regional, then, you know, if I do decide that, you know, regional isn't for me, then I can go on to a mainline, or at least try to go on to a mainline. It's still difficult no matter how much experience you have. So that was just really my thought process on that. I am happy for the most part. There are a lot of things that I am missing. Like, I mean, truth be honest, I don't care for these layovers or destinations that we fly to. They're not exciting to me. That's why in these vlogs, like in my old vlogs, I used to get out and, you know, venture out in the cities a lot. And I don't do that because it's not that exciting. And then of course the pay is less, and money talks. Like, not that I'm greedy, but I need to be able to live my life, and not that I have anything against working hard, but I just need a better balance. All right, so JRNBSN, this question is funny. You got a man? Question mark, question mark. Just playing, Alexia. You know I'm a day one, love Vlogmas. Yes, you've been rocking with me for a long time, and I appreciate that. But to answer your question, I'm single. Okay, so Everett B says, when you get called to sit airport standby, do you have to check in with anyone? I ask because I'm curious how strict they would be if you were a few minutes late, since it's not like the flight would be affected. First of all, in aviation, you just don't want to be late, point blank, period. Okay, like, you always want to be early. I know in like a blog or two ago I was running late, and that's shame on me. And in that vlog, it's a prime example because I was sitting airport standby, getting there to sit airport standby, and as soon as I got there, they called me for a trip. And like I said, they had already had that in mind for me, even though they didn't tell me. I know they did. They didn't tell me, but I know they did. So that can still mess up operations. They're depending on you to be there at a certain time, so you need to be there. Late is not acceptable in aviation. Y'all know this. If you've been rocking with me, you know that at my first JetBlue interview, I was 3 minutes late and I didn't get to interview, and I had to reapply and go back, and by the grace of God, it worked out. I might tag, I have a story time on that whole situation if y'all want to know how that worked out. But to answer the other portion of your question, Everett, when you get called to sit airport standby, do you have to check in with anyone? Yes. Anytime you have an assignment on your schedule, whether it's airport standby or you're checking in for a trip, you do have to check in. Not specifically with the person, but you have to check in on the app or on the desktop computer and like clock in for work, basically. 11 phase 11. This isn't a question, it's a request. Y'all tell me, are y'all really interested in this? One day do a what's in my purse / handbag video. How exciting is that? Do y'all want that? Comment down below. If you want it, I'll do it, I guess. All right, Becky Miller commented. Hi, Becky. We've spoken a little bit on Instagram. Hi. She says, hi, Alexia. You are on those baby planes a lot. Is that something you prep for or you just get? What are the pros and cons of being the only flight attendant on the plane? Love your vlogs. No, Becky, I don't pref. Well, okay, hold on. Let me not lie. I do not prefer to work on the Embraer 140/145. It's my least favorite aircraft. I am 5'9", 5'8", 3/4, and that aircraft, I think when you apply here at this regional, the height requirements, you can't be any taller than, I believe it's 5'11". It might be 6 foot, but I think it's 5'11", because even at my interview, I had on heels that were taller than the 3 inches that put me like about 6 feet tall. And my interviewer asked me how tall I was, specifically because that aircraft, you cannot be a certain height and work it. Like, y'all see, I'm like, it's literally right there to my head. And then with my hair growing, who knows? So I don't prefer to work it, but when we do preference for our next day assignment, like we have that option. Shoot, speaking of a freaking preference, I forgot to proffer for tomorrow. Dang it. Anyways, we're able to go in and look at all of the open trips for tomorrow, and then we can proffer for them in the order of what we want the most to lease, as well as what reserve availability period we want. So I could not prefer for them, but I would rather fly than sit. So I usually put all of the, well, I usually bid for whatever trips have the most time away from base first. And so if that just happens to be on the Embraer, which most times it is, then I just prefer for them. But if I didn't have to fly on them, I wouldn't. And once I get a line, I'm gonna try to avoid them like the plague. Byron Taylor says, how long is it currently taking to hold a line at DFW? Thank you. Well, I hit the line mid-August. I think August 12th, August 13th or something like that was my first flight, and I was in Chicago. But now I'm Dallas based. It's December. And so what, how many months is that? August, September, October, November, December, five months. Some of my classmates, the more senior classmates, like 6 of them actually did get a line for December. So I kind of think it's a fluke, just because a lot of people take vacation during this month, and you know, it might be just more flight. I don't really know. So if they get a line next month, or if more of us get a line next month, then we're looking at about maybe 6 months to hold a line in DFW, 6-7 months. So my whole thought process in training was to at least have a line by March. That's what I was feeling in my heart. If it comes sooner, that's great. Oh, Everett has 2 questions. How are your interactions with pilots? I know some flight attendants don't particularly care for them, so I wanted to hear your perspective. Have you had any issues with any great experiences that made you want to fly with them again? And could you see yourself dating one? Ooh, child. Okay, I'm gonna answer this question by question. How are your interactions with pilots? My interactions with pilots are great. I treat them like a human being. Not to be sarcastic. I know some FAs don't particularly care for them, so I wanted to hear your perspective. So yeah, I don't like to categorize pilots. They're just human beings. So as a human being, if they're not somebody that I would probably interact with on a regular day, then at work, I'm just going to do what my job entails me to do as far as interacting with them. Getting on a personal level, or, you know, going out to eat with them or anything. If I don't like them, I don't like them. And that's just that. But I'm going to be respectful when it comes to doing a job. Because, I mean, my life is in their hands, clearly. Have I had an issue with any pilots? Yeah. Nothing like super extreme. No stories for me to really tell that I can like think of off the top of my dome. But I've never had like exchange of words or nice nastiness with any pilots. You know, if I have an issue, I'm really good at just like pushing forward and being like whatever. Now if it's something super extreme, then I will take it to the necessary extents, but I've never had anything like that. Any great experiences that made you want to fly with them again? Oh yeah, absolutely. There were quite a few pilots when I was at JetBlue. Even here, I've met a few that are really nice, and just, you know, especially when you're on that Embraer as the only flight attendant, it is really nice when the pilots, I don't want to say embrace, but, you know, just interact with you, invite you to go out for dinner or whatever it may be, because at the end of the day, they don't have to. But yeah, there was a few pilots at JetBlue that I really enjoyed flying with. You know, we would all go out as a whole crew and go have a good time. So that was cool. And here, what I have noticed is that, you know, the pilots, their whole process is different. And for the pilots here, they have a flow-through program. So once they have done their time here at the regional, they flow through to mainline, to American Airlines. Flight attendants don't have that. Don't ask me, we don't got it, okay? And I personally don't think we should, because some of these lackluster flight attendants don't need to go to mainline. That's a whole nother tangent for another day. But like, what I'm realizing is here, like, I fly with a lot of new pilots, first officers. A guy I flew with the other day was doing his, I get what we consider IOE, like initial flights out of training. He was 23, super cute, wet behind the ears. And you know, that's kind of like, okay, so like, honestly, I had a moment I had to check myself, because I'm really big on manners and respect, and like, if I see you, or especially if I'm interacting with you, I'm going to give you the proper hellos. You know, like, to me, those are simple lessons of manners that you should have learned in life, okay? But everybody doesn't have them. So as I was walking down the jet bridge, he was kind of standing there about to do his walk around, and he just kind of looked at me like he wasn't really sure what to say or what to do, and I just was like, okay. Like, he just walked off, and then I got on and I spoke to the captain or whatever. Once he got back on board, I introduced myself. You know, I was like, hi, I'm Alexia, da 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 da. He's like, hi, you know, real subtle. Still didn't know that he was brand new, right? Then later on in the van, we were talking, and that's when I realized that he was doing his whatever flights. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense on why you weren't sure of what the proper interaction was with the flight attendant, because this is new to you. So I had to check myself. I was like, Alexia, you was thinking the man was rude the whole time, and he just honestly wasn't sure of how to interact. So, you know, I have to keep that in mind a lot here. So yeah, pilots are pilots. Sure, I would love to fly with some again. Some I could care less if I ever see them again. Could I see myself dating a pilot? I could see myself dating any man that God sends my way that he says, Alexia, that is the man for you. Simple as that. Does he have to be a pilot? No. If he's a pilot, am I gonna say no? No. But I'm not out here just looking for a pilot. Like, I know you all hear about these thirsty flight attendants that want to date a pilot. I'm not that girl. Equinox says, hi Alexia, love your videos. I'd like to know what a crash pad is. Is it like a place where you share rooms on a shift-like basis, or do you have to share your room with someone? I'm assuming it's like an Airbnb type scenario for flight attendants. Please excuse my ignorance. No problem. I mean, you just don't know. Heck, I didn't know before I looked into it. So what a crash pad is, it's like a hostel, really, but it just happens to be like flight crew or 8 people in aviation that live in them. So, and they can all just be different, honestly, but it literally is what it sounds like. It is a pad for you to crash in. It's not really a space meant for you to live in full time. It's literally just, if you're a reserve flight attendant, you spend your reserve days and nights there until you get called for a trip. And if you're a line holder, if you've commuted in, you know, earlier in the day and you want to crash until it's time for you to go on your trip, or if you know you got back from a trip late and you want to crash before it's time for you to go back home. Some are huge houses with multiple rooms and multiple beds and bunk beds, and some you share the beds. Like, there's hot beds, there's cold beds. A hot bed means, you know, it's constantly warm, meaning it's not just your bed. You and someone else may split nights, or you have a schedule. I'll be here these nights, you'll be here these nights, but we both share this one bed. Or like my situation right now, I have my own bed. I pay rent per month, and that bed is my bed. And it's 4 bunk beds in 1 room. So I am in a smaller crash pad. So just to keep it real simple, that's what a crash pad is. I have a video on crash pads too. I'll go ahead and link it up here for you. FAAL says, how hard was training process for your new airline versus your old? I'll be starting with your new airline soon and would like to get a heads up on any tips to get through the training as far as studying goes. Training for me was, I guess this time around it was definitely easier, just simply because, you know, I have more knowledge on what we were learning. But as far as, you know, how training was set up and the things that we did, it was very much the same. And I think all airline trainings are very similar. You're learning equipment and safety procedures for every aircraft that your company flies. So you do have to be certified on every single aircraft that your company flies. So here we fly 3 aircrafts. We're certified on 3. At JetBlue, we had, oh God, I forgot. We had what, 4? So you had to be certified on a 4 or 3. I don't remember. So if you go to Delta or Mainline American or whoever else, they have like 10 aircrafts and you have to be certified on all 10 aircrafts. So that means you need to know all the emergency procedures for those specific aircrafts and the configurations of all those certain aircrafts. What else did your question say? Any tips to get through training as far as studying goes? Just do what your instructor says. I strongly believe that you should not like try to get ahead of the game, because it's not going to be helpful to you, especially if you're new to this. Just take it day by day, study, remember what you're there for, don't get caught up in any of the drama, and focus and graduate, and then enjoy your life afterwards. All right, Rebecca Saylor. Oh, I like that last name. Meetups or collaborations ever cross your mind? Thoughts? A little more detail on the question. Meetups with who and collaborations with who? Meetups with you all, my lovely subscribers. I've never really thought about it. I feel like I run into y'all every day, so that's nice. Collaborations, there's quite a few other, especially flight attendant vloggers that I watch that sure I would love to do a collab video with. None in particular. I mean, they all seem like sweet girls and guys. Yeah, so I don't know, y'all want to come to Houston, buy me some papados? Silky Black 2006 says, what advice can you give a brand new flight attendant going through training in 2020 with your current airline? What advice? Kind of what I just said. Just stay the course, you know. Being a flight attendant is a coveted position, and if you get the opportunity, just don't ruin it. You know, just go to training, focus, study, learn. I said it when I was at JetBlue, and I felt the same way when I was here. I really do feel like the instructors are there to help you get through the process. They're very helpful. So, but you do have to remember that these instructors are flight attendants that are just instructing. So, you know, pick their brains, you know, ask them maybe different ways to learn things, because they do have to teach you the curriculum how it is. But maybe if it's something that you're just not grasping, ask them to explain it to you in a different way or something like that. Because sometimes some of the things that we're learning, you just can't grasp until you actually, if you're a hands-on person like me. It was always helpful once I actually could like see and feel and know. And sometimes the way the training process is set up, sometimes you're learning before you're actually, well, you're hearing about or whatever before you actually get to see, feel, and know how they actually work and function, if that makes sense. Brandon Jackson says, what's your favorite airline to fly on? What is your favorite travel destination thus far? And are you close to holding a line? So I just talked about a line. I'm expecting to have a line at least by March of 2020. My favorite airline to fly? Whoever's gonna get me there. Really, I don't so there's a few I haven't flown on. Like I've never flown on Alaska. When Virgin was still around, I never flew on them. But I mean, based on out of the big ones, like United, American, Delta, JetBlue, Southwest, Spirit, which airline is probably like, why is this question so hard? I don't know. Not even to be biased, but JetBlue was comfortable to fly on because they have tons of leg room in just their regular core section. Their Mint experience was awesome. Lay flat so you go to bed. Even though other airlines do have that. So I don't know. I don't know. It's probably between American and Delta. Let's just say American, because that's who I work for. At least they're regional. Oh, and what is my favorite travel destination thus far? I haven't been to my favorite yet, but thus far as where I have been, I still think Cuba was my favorite. I just loved the experience of just Cuba. Oh, sorry y'all, that door. Yeah, I would just have to say Cuba. If you have the chance to go check Cuba out. Hey Kim girl. Are you single, dating, or currently in a relationship? If so, tell us what you're comfortable disclosing about him. Also, if there is a S.O, does he working? What does that mean? I'm assuming if there is a him, but what does S.O. mean? Well, I don't know what that means. So I kind of answered this already, but I'll go a little deeper since I never disclose my private life outside of like work and family. Are you single, dating, or currently in a relationship? So right now at this moment I am single. I was dating someone this entire year. Amazing guy. Oh God. I couldn't feel the emotion just bubbling up. We just recently went our separate ways. I'm still very, very sad about it. I could probably cry right now, so I want to stop talking about it. No, he was not in aviation. And we went our separate ways just because our vision with each other for the future wasn't the same. So we had to make the best decision to call it quits, I guess. So there's your answer to that. Colleen says, do you ever see your old roommates especially fond? Where do you want to visit that you haven't been to yet? Oh girl, you got a lot of questions. Do you watch other FA vlogs? Are you a sports person? Which do you like better? Working a trip by yourself or with other FAs? Beer, wine, bath or shower? What kind of soda? Candy? Okay, I guess I'm done being nosy. This is too cute. So, do you ever see your old roommates? So when I was in New York, I lived in an apartment. It was 4 flight attendants, me, Fawn. We shared one room, and then there were 2 other girls that worked for Delta. No, I don't see them too. I don't talk to them. After that whole snake fiasco, no. Especially Fawn, yes. I don't see Fawn other than on FaceTime. I don't see her that often. Last time I saw her is when she came to pin my wings when I graduated this airline. I do plan on going to see her soon. Where do you want to visit that you haven't been to yet? Everywhere. I want to hit every continent, y'all. I want to do Africa really bad, and I want to do Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and just do like the whole Jesus Walks tour. That's what I call it in my brain. Do you watch other FA vlogs? I do. I would feel bad to kind of give shout outs right now because I'm gonna forget quite a few of them. But Let's Journey Devaney, I really enjoy her. Wildly Zierra, she's so cute. I really enjoy her. Pretty Passenger, aka Ashley, I really enjoyed her when she does a vlog. She likes to take breaks. So she's on a break right now, I guess. I don't know if she's coming back, but I really enjoy her. Ashley Smith TV, I watch her every now and then. EK, what's her channel name? She's a United flight attendant based in Chicago. I really like her. I feel like her and I kind of have like the same vlog style. Like we really get in depth with the with our job and kind of like behind the scenes of things that's going on. So I enjoy her. Y'all go check out her channel. Y'all would probably really like it, especially if you're interested in becoming a United flight attendant. She really does give you the ins and outs of what's going on over there. I used to watch Malives a lot at Southwest, but I haven't really seen him doing much of anything lately. Oh, and just Chanel, she is a Delta flight attendant, but her channel has a lot of variety, so it's not just all like flight attendant stuff. So those are some that I can think of. Oh, and Stella, of course, but I haven't really watched her consistently in a long time. But I still watch, you know, I watch. I like to know what's going on in other places. Tiffany, give me a reason. She is now a Southwest flight attendant. I want to say she used to fly for Spirit back in the day. One of my lovely subscribers, you know who you are. You let me know that she was going through a little something. She was sick, and I did reach out to her. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you doing that and bringing it to my attention. And Tiffany and I did speak, so thank you. I just want to say thank you for bringing it to my attention. You know, as flight attendant YouTubers, I do definitely think we should know each other a little bit better. Okay, Colleen also said, are you a sports person? No, I'm not. The only thing I like to watch is track and field on the Olympics, and I'm a Serena Williams fan. I don't keep up with basketball. I don't keep up with football. None of it. Working a trip by yourself or with other FAs? It's 50-50. If I like the other FA, if they're like personable and I can enjoy my time with them, then I'm gonna enjoy that better. And sometimes I just want to be solo dolo, so I do enjoy the Embraer 140, 145 just for that aspect of it. Beer or wine? Wine. Bath or shower? Shower. Even though I have been taking a few little soaks lately, like bathtub style, and it's amazing. What kind of soda? Coke. Candy. Skittles, the original pack, the red one. Okay, guess I'm done being ugly. Riley Cummings says, have you ever been to Knoxville, Tennessee on a trip? Not that I recall. I'm gonna say no, I haven't, Riley. Catrice Lewis says, hi again, Alexia. I know you already touched on it, but what entertains you while working a long flight? What's the best way a new hire can master their contract without having to memorize it or rely on jump seat combos for answers? How did you master it? Thank you for everything. I have not mastered our contract, and I know there are some flight attendants that know it like the back of their hand, and I feel like those people have been here forever, or they really just took the time to read through it. You know, I know you said besides jump seat combos, and like, yeah, I have the jump seat combos, but even still, that's just more word of mouth. So even when you do have those conversations, just go in and read. But what I've done over my 2.5 years of aviation experience, I do I just basically learn as I go. Once the situation comes is when I dig into my contract or whatever to see, you know, what is right and what is wrong or whatever. I mean, the simple answer is just read it. It sucks, but that's all you really can do. I don't really know any other ways to master it other than just to kind of read it. And every time a situation does come up, make sure you go straight to it to see if that was handled correctly or not. What was the other part of your question, Catrice? You said, what entertains you while working a long flight? So the longest flight that I've worked was probably 7 hours, JFK to San Fran during the winter with a strong headwind. And I would just read books. Honestly, that's really, yeah. I would just read books, especially if it was like a nighttime flight. God, I hated a red eye or a late night flight. But that would really be the only thing, because most people go to sleep on those flights. If it was daytime, usually you could stay pretty busy. If you just constantly went up and down the aisle like you're supposed to, like here, I think we're supposed to walk up and down the aisle every 15-20 minutes. But you know, on those longer flights, of course, you're going to have crew that can entertain you. So just if you're connecting with somebody, just having conversations, and I mean, just regular jump seat conversation. Y'all, you know what it is. You just sit on the jump seat and talk about life. But yeah, there's not really a lot that you can do. Like in my current airline, we're not really supposed to do anything. We're not supposed to read. We're not supposed to be on our phones. So at JetBlue, we could be like, once we weren't in a critical phase of flight and we were done doing, you know, our service for that period of the flight or whatever, basically like if we had downtime, we could be on our phones browsing the internet or reading a book or, you know, whatever, as long as, you know, it wasn't distracting you from doing your job or not being able to be sharp with your safety regulations and things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, if you are allowed to do some work, read a book, find a hobby, like I don't really know, do some jumping jacks, squats. That's all I can think of. I got a few Instagram questions. This one says, tell us a time where you had an extreme emergency situation on one of your flights. Extreme. I haven't had any extreme emergency situations, thankfully. Really the only medical, because I don't think it was extreme, but one night I had a passenger kind of pass out, and he was in his seat, so he didn't like fall or anything, but he was unresponsive for a few minutes. And we gave him oxygen, but that was really it. I'm very thankful, honestly, very, very, very thankful that I haven't had any crazy situations. Love Vlogmas intro. How do you deal with turbulence? Are you used to it now? I personally love turbulence, the lower level of turbulence, because I feel like it rocks people to sleep. Like, it gets the cabin kind of quiet. It's nice, as long as I'm not in my jump seat, because it's gonna put me to sleep too, and then I'll get fired, and we don't want that. But there are some times where the turbulence is a little extreme, and it's just, honestly, for me, it's more annoying than anything, especially like if you're in the middle of doing service and, I was about to say the plane is swaying. Sometimes I get a little lightheaded from it, honestly, but it doesn't really bother me. I've never experienced turbulence to the point where things were flying and, you know, hitting heads, and like, I've never experienced that. So, but I would just do what I need to do and sit down and strap myself in and make sure that my customers are strapped in and the rest of the crew was good. Would you do a flight attendant training again if you had the chance to be based in Houston? Yes. Kind of. Do you stay in a crash pad in Dallas? Yes, I do. Okay. Oh, do y'all like my shirt? I remember I bought this at Zara in Canada, in Montreal. Isn't it cute? Simba and Nyla. Okay, there's a few other questions that I got that were not posted under the Q&A post, but I'm gonna scroll and try to find them. What streaming app are you using to watch The Resident? This is from Everett. Oh, that's my Xfinity app, Xfinity Comcast. But yeah, that's just my cable provider that we pay for at home. I just have the app, Xfinity Comcast. I already answered this question, but I just thought it was funny how he worded it. Kenneth Perez says, Alexia, when will you hold a line? I feel that you've been at this airline for a long time. Honestly, at regionals, they're known, one benefit of a regional is because they're known to you're known to become a line holder a lot quicker than you would at a major mainline airline. So the fact that some of my classmates are holding a line this December at 5 months is honestly amazing. And like I said, I anticipate to be a full line holder at least by March. James Donnelly, I feel like you've asked this before. It may or may not be you, but you said please show us doing the safety demo. Love your vlogs. Thank you for loving the vlogs, but I cannot do that for you. When we're doing the safety demo, that is at a critical phase of flight, okay? We have closed the boarding door. We may or may not be backed away from the gate, taxiing down the runway, and I cannot be on my phone during that point in time. The safety demo is a safety procedure, so my focus should just be on that and that alone. So I will never do that. Sorry. And do other flight attendants do that? Because they shouldn't. All right, Christina Marie. Hey girl, hey. She asked on Vlogmas Day 2. Love the lip gloss, thanks. I don't know which one it was. I see you're getting closer to your sister locks. Yes, the hair growth is real, y'all. Can't wait to see them. How much longer before you get them? And what brand is that coat? Where did you get it? So with the sister lock journey, I have quite a ways to go because I want my hair at a certain length before I actually get the locks installed. I don't want them too long. Well, just for those of you that don't know what sister locks are, they are a form of dreadlocks, but they are very, very, very tiny, like literally a few strands of hair. So give or take $1,000 to install them, to get them started. So I don't want them too long because the more hair you have, the more they charge, but I don't want it too short because it's gonna look weird in my mind. So maybe once I get, like, I don't know, don't even give me the line, I don't know. But I did kind of want to have them before next fall. So yeah, we'll see how quickly my hair decides to grow. But what I will tell you is that this whole, the brush thing that I use, once I get enough hair that I can get somebody to, I'm going to use braiding terms now, that it can catch this and put some braids in or some cornrows or something so I don't have to constantly do my hair, I will be. So probably by January, this stuff is going to be braided and I'm just going to a protective style and let it grow. How much longer before you get that? What brand is your coat? My black coat that I bought, I got it from Fashion Nova, fashionnova.com, $50. And Thimby Costa, you've been a ride or die for a long time. Hey girl, you told me to try making tuna with avocados and lemon juice with herbs and olive oil. I'm going to try it, and if I waste a can of tuna, that's on you. Colleen said, what I'm doing right now, y'all, is I'm just scrolling through all the comments on my more recent videos. Colleen asked, on my Thanksgiving vlog, Vlogmas Day 1, who the people were. There was a lot of people, but as far as the thumbnail photo to the left of me, the tall 17-year-old crazy boy, that's my younger cousin Norman. Then directly next to me on the other side, the bigger boy, tall with the dreads, that is my younger brother Andre. And the one at the end of the photo, that is my younger cousin Ella. I was the only girl cousin there this year. It was kind of sad. They bullied up on me. Ms. Vanille, you asked in a comment, I'm just going to pull out the question, am I going to be doing scriptures this year for Vlogmas? So last year, before Vlogmas got cut short, I was reading scriptures every day of Vlogmas. I decided not to do that this year just because I really didn't plan ahead. But what I have been doing is at the end of my intro, there is a different Bible verse there for you all to read. Go Dundee asked, I already answered him or her. But part of his question was, is your mom Caribbean? Yes, she is. My family is Jamaican. I am 100% full-blooded Jamaican, okay? Silky Black 2006 asked me, have you ever broken guarantee where you got more pay? No, I have not. At this airline, they do, I forgot what they call it. It's some term, but basically they try to keep each reserve equal on hours as much as they can. So no, I think the most hours I've actually flown is like 35 hours for the month on reserve, but I still get paid for my 75 regardless. All right, y'all, that is it for the Q&A session this time. If y'all have any questions, you know how to contact me. You can just comment right down below. You can go to my Instagram, AlexiaNicole.Life, or you can send me an email, Alexia@AlexiaNicole.Life, and I will eventually respond, I promise. Thank y'all for watching. Until next time, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Bye.